What is shaking, everybody? Tuesday afternoon, new day, new time. Will it hold? I don't know. Your guess as good as mine. Feel like Danny Noonan in stripes. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just do we do. And like I said, we'll settle on something at some point. Today, I want to get into some hoops and the discussion that I missed out on, although still relevant, over the NBA. And the proliferation of the three-point shot. Is it killing basketball? Is it not killing basketball? Why ratings are down? I don't pay attention to ratings. I don't care. If I love watching something, I watch it. If I don't, I don't. I don't care what the ratings are. The only time the ratings affect me is when it's a TV show that I like and the ratings suck, and then the show goes away. But usually, if the show goes away, you're ready for it to go away. I've never been tethered to a show that has abysmal ratings for the most part. I'm sure if I looked, I could probably find some shows that were canceled. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What happened to Betsy? You kidding me? She was like in the closet last episode, and was she gonna stay in the closet? What we got going on here? Can you just give me like a little mini episode so we could have some resolution to that? No? Okay, whatever. Moving on. So we'll get into that. And I broke down some numbers, and it's basically the last 40 years. So 85, which was an era where the Celtics and the Lakers kind of ran the show up until now. And we'll look at three-point percentage, three-point attempts, field goal attempts, all that kind of stuff. And there's some pretty interesting numbers on there. And I'll talk about this still sticks with me when JJ Redick said, back then there were plumbers and construction workers playing whatever he said, playing basketball, which was like, I don't know if it was meant to be funny. JJ Redick doesn't strike me as the type to be funny. I don't know that. I don't think he's going to be a stand-up comedian anytime. I don't see that as his future. He doesn't strike me as a humorous fellow. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I'm not sure if that was supposed to be funny. It wasn't. Factual. It wasn't. So we'll get into that a little bit as well. Even Anthony Edwards last year said the only player that was really skilled back then was Jordan. And we'll get into what is a skill. What's the definition of skill? Like, what are we talking about when we talk about skill in terms of basketball? So we'll get into all that, but I didn't want to get some of the bigger topics out of the way. Let's start with Steph last week in Orlando. 56 points. Like, Steph's been rolling a little bit lately, and he's been knocking down shots and looking good, walking tall, looking good. I don't know if it's the Butler effect. I think that has something to do with it. But look, Steph's going to go on these jags occasionally where he just gets rolling, he's locked in, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Steph's just going to roll. And 56 points is incredible. Road, home, doesn't matter. I mean, just a monster game, right? It doesn't really faze me anymore. And I give Steph the biggest compliment I can give somebody.
He's in his GP2.
They make the extraordinary look ordinary. That's what Steph does. That's what LeBron does.
Where will he be?
That's what Michael Jordan did. That's what Kobe did. That's what Shaq did. Jokic. There was a game Jokic had a couple of weeks ago. It was like 34, 15, and 12. I was like, yeah. It's Jokic. You realize how absurd those numbers are? Steph's absurd. Steph's one of one. Steph is absolutely just a ludicrous basketball player. And yet, stuff like that, he just makes it look easy. Like, it's not that big a deal. I'm just going to dribble down there, dribble down here, go lay it up, and go 48. What are we going to do here? Franz Wagner, you think I'm going to go left? I'm not going to go left. I'm going to go right. I'm going to go around the bucket. Steph's amazing, by the way. And then right here, there's two guys there. I'll just pull up. Boom. I'm not going to dribble one step closer because then you can defend the shot. I just pull it from the logo. Like, yeah, it's no big deal. I got that. And everybody knows he's got it, but still, that's a shock to the system a little bit when somebody pulls up from the logo. Even though Steph has that in his game, like, easily. I mean, the ball handling, the step back, the feet set, the shoulders square. What? It's just, again, how many times have I seen that over the course of his career? I couldn't even tell you. Countless. It's just, again, it's absurd. But he makes it look ordinary. It's not that big a deal. That's why he's one of the best players ever. That's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, top 10, 15, 20, whatever. I don't care where you want to put him. I don't know where he is. I don't care where he is. I know he's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. I mean, there's a little bit of luck involved in that. I won't say that's part of Steph's game. his knocking down 3/4 court shots, but again, the movement without the ball is probably his most underrated skill. And by the way, that was luck too. And by the way, I would never jump at Steph ever. I would run straight toward him. If I get there late and he shoots it, then he shoots it. How many times have we seen the pump fake? Dude goes fly by, and then there's nobody in the building that can get close to him. Like, I just would not. I've said that for the past few years. Do not jump at 3-point jump shooters. Don't do it. Because nowadays, guys pump you, and then you're done. You're toast. You're out of the play, and nobody else is coming to help you out. There's no bailouts there. Just none. So 56 is still staggering. There's no doubt about it. But it's Steph, right? And Steph is the greatest player ever to play in the Bay Area for the Warriors. They've had some great players over their time. Rick Barry, Chris Mullin, Timmy Hardaway, Mitch Richmond. I mean, Hall of Famers. And this guy tops everybody. He's special. Absolutely a special basketball player and a great guy too. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better face of your franchise than Steph Curry. You couldn't. I dare you. Try. He's great with the media. He's humble. He has time for, women's sports, kids, Oakland. I mean, he still incorporates Oakland and the stuff that he does, the charity work that he does. I mean, the guy's just, it's absurd. Like, this guy is like the whole package. If I could have anybody to be the face of my franchise, I'd say I'll take Steph. You give me anybody else you want, I'll have Steph. Not only do I get a great basketball player, I get a great person. I get a down-to-earth person, and I get a person that I can coach. He's coachable. A lot of stars aren't coachable. They're going to do it their way. They don't want to be yelled at. They don't want to be chastised. It's like, hey, shut up. I'm the player. I'm the man. I'm the man up in this bitch. You can tell me what to do. Steph's not like that. Steph can be coached. And when Steph can be coached, anybody can be coached. You can't be the 4th, 7th, 10th guy on the team and start shooting back at your coach when Steph's like, yeah, I got you, coach. I got you. So again, I take him for granted. I'm sure a lot of people do. Probably shouldn't. But damn, I've seen so many of those performances that it just, to me, it's the extraordinary that is made to look ordinary by Steph Curry. The other big news in basketball, Kyrie Irving out with an ACL injury, suffered that against the Kings. Could this have gone worse for the Mavericks? I mean, I don't believe in curses, but if I did, I mean, has the curse of Luka already started? I mean, again, I don't believe in curses because I don't believe in boogeymen. Okay, the boogie, that's not me. I hope it's not you either. But so you trade Luka, which everybody says, what are you doing? You can't trade a guy like that. I said that. You get Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis gets hurt the first game he's playing for the Mavericks. Gafford, out. Lively, out. Even Powell, their third string center, out. And now Kyrie blows out the ACL. And he's out for the season and probably a good part of next year too. This team was in the finals last year. The finals. And it is just imploded. Absolutely imploded. Yeah, I like that graphic. That's really nice there. What's that one? Is that a new one we have going there? Fantastic. He is he's just, I mean, he along with Steph are probably the two best ball handlers and shot creators in the game. Maybe not shot creators. Steph isn't I mean, there's other great shot creators, but ball handlers and the ability to handle the ball into a shot, Steph and Kyrie are absolutely incredible. And you see him go down here. You can just see the right knee kind of goes right there. Yeah. Then he shot 2 free throws. Yeah, I've heard people that have had ACLs. It can be different for you know, some people it hurts, some it doesn't hurt, some don't walk off, some walk off. Uh, that's rough. I mean, at that point, when you're like going to the free throw line, are they like thinking he's coming back in? Like, hey, look, Steph, you might want to, or Kyrie, you might want to shoot the free throws in case you come back in the game. Did that look like he was come back in the game at all? Like, hey, you're gonna come back in the game. Remember, Clay did that against the Raptors in the finals, where he shot his free throws. And again, I'm not sure if these guys have high pain tolerances or the ACLs just, you know, it's not as painful as some other things can be. So it's just a bummer. So get rid of the Mavericks. Mavericks are out. They're done in the West. Sabonis has an injury now, hamstring injury. I'm not sure that where that leaves the Kings. So we're starting to get down to the point where, last 25 games or so, and you're looking at probably Thunder number one for sure. Lakers are rolling. Man, the Lakers defense been good. And Luka's looked good on defense too. Like the whole team has looked good. And they beat the Clippers back to back at home, on the road. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Austin Reeves didn't play last game. Rui Hachimura didn't play last game. But that's a squad right now. I mean, that's a squad. They got confidence. They're rolling. The defense is playing well. They're up to the number 2 seed. So it's really kind of a fight to me for 2, 3, 4. Right? You got maybe even 4 teams in there. You got Denver, Lakers, Memphis, Houston. That's kind of your battle right now. And I think Şengün and Thompson missed the last game, maybe I have to look at that. I think they're out last game for the Rockets. A lot of this is going to come down to health. Who can stay healthy? And then after that, man, it's just a mad scramble. And you see right there, so you separate after the Rockets, is what I think. And they're 4 games ahead of the Warriors. And then it's a battle for who can get the last available spot without having to play a playing game. Is it the Warriors, Clippers, Kings, T-Wolves? Again, Mavericks done. I think the Suns are done. I mean, they're not done, but they're done. I mean, come on. You got a big game against the T-Wolves at home and you just get whacked. So the T-Wolves are going to be in it. Warriors are the tiebreaker on them. They don't have the tiebreaker on the Clippers. They're going to be at it. And the Kings, we'll see. We'll see how long Sabonis is going to be out. He's the fulcrum of that offense. They run their offense through him. So we'll see where they are. But just go ahead and take the Mavericks. They're 10th. Get them out of there. Maybe the Suns can get to 10th, but they ain't getting to 6th. That ain't happening. So, it looks like the Warriors are going to be battling for that 6th spot with the Clippers, T-Wolves. That's it. And again, it really depends on how long Sabonis is going to be out. And even if he comes back, the composition of that team just isn't. They've been playing a little bit better lately, but that's important. So you don't have to play the play-in game. But if you get 7, you get 2 shots at it at home, and you should be okay. You should be okay from there. So, last thing I wanted to get into Deebo Samuel going to the Washington Commanders. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, put out a video on thoughts on Deebo Samuel going to the Commanders for a 5th rounder. It was time, wasn't it? Like, it was time. It'd run its course. He just wasn't the same type of player that he'd been in the past. And look, it's to be expected. How physical is that dude? That dude is like all out every play. He's getting after it. He's blocking. When he catches the ball, he's running hard. Problem was he wasn't catching the ball as much last year. Whether they threw it to him or not, he wasn't catching the ball as much last year. So, but I love him. I've always said him, Kittle, and Greenlaw are kind of the heartbeat of the team. They're the thump in this team. Like, Greenlaw thumps you. Deebo Samuel's the guy that fights for extra yards. Look at that. That's a wide receiver. But he was a Swiss Army knife. When he was right and he was in shape, that dude was getting you 5-6 yards out of the backfield. You're throwing the ball in the open field. Look at that. I mean, not the fastest guy out there, but enough speed. And then, he's going to fight you for that extra yard. And guys that play like that, like two of my favorite players of all time, Bob Sanders, former safety for the Colts, and Marion Barber, former running back for the Cowboys. Those guys, I mean, every play was like to the death, just to the absolute death. And while you respected that and thought, man, I love watching this guy play, you're thinking it ain't going to last long. You better enjoy it while you can, because it's probably not going to last all that long. Is that Trey Lance that threw it to him? Holy smokes. Look at that. Trey Lance highlight. But Deebo would run it out of the backfield. You get the jet sweeps, throw him the ball short, let him just run over dudes, get you 7 or 8 yards. He was a tone setter. So I think they're going to miss that more than maybe they'll miss his production. And I think he'll be good with the Commanders alongside McLaurin. I mean, that's a nice combo. You got McLaurin, kind of the prototypical wide receiver, and then Deebo. Like Deebo now, if he was being recruited in college, he'd be athlete. You just put him athlete. Like just put that dude out there, wind his ass up, let him go. Kick some ass for you. I mean, I'm going to miss watching him play. I loved watching him play. Again, I love watching him play. I love watching Kittle play. I love watching Greenlaw play. Not to say they're the best guys on the team, but they were just, to me, the most fun guys to watch on the team. And I worried about Kittle years ago, too, that, God, this guy just plays too hard all the time. But that's who he is. That's how he plays. And he had a fantastic year last year. So who knows how long it'll last. But those are the type of guys that, it's hard not to try and play that way when some of your team leaders are playing that way. And he was something else. Like he was just, again, he was fun to watch. I think the Niners will be fine without him. I really do. And again, sometimes it's just time. It's time. He wanted to go. Niners were like, cool. Like, I think when he asked for a trade request, the first thing they said was, yeah, we'll honor that. Because they were done too. They wanted to clear up some space. Purdy's coming up on the contract extension. So if I had a beer, I don't have water right now. I'll cheers you with water, Deebo, because you were a hell of a 49er, man. You were fun as hell to watch. And look, Commanders will be on all the time next year, so I'm sure I'll watch my fair share of Commanders games. But anyway, to Deebo Samuel. That's some high quality H2O right there. I wanted to. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else in football that had come up that was big? I skipped the combine, as you knew I would, altogether. I probably won't completely skip the draft, but I'm not a draft nerd. I don't get into like, oh God, how do they take that tackle from Northern Iowa in the 4th round? Like, if the dude was in your backyard, you wouldn't know who he was. So stop. Stop. And I think they have so I'll get into the draft a little bit because I watch a lot of college football. So there's some of the guys I know. The 2 quarterbacks, I was kind of on. I mean, we know how teams are on quarterbacks. You got to go get a quarterback, but I don't know. Maybe they're both good, maybe they're not. I have no idea. But to me, they're like, leave me. Yeah. Take them if you want to, but I'm not expecting great things from either of them. And Ewers, I don't know if there's anybody this year. Shuck from Louisville, guy that was at Oregon. Okay, like there's nothing about this quarterback draft that I look at and go, "Oh, these guys are really nice." Apparently, the offensive line, defensive line, and that's what I'm hoping the Niners do. You just get an offensive lineman or defensive lineman. That's it. That's where football starts. Offensive line, defensive line. Just solidify those. Have a kick-ass defensive line, have a kick-ass offensive line, and then work around that for skill position players. Period. I don't care who they take, just offensive line, defensive line, I'm good with it. Although there is part of me that wants to see Tyler Warren and Kittle line up together because Tyler Warren's a badass. Tight end, Penn State. I might talk about him a little bit when it gets closer to draft. I really like that dude. That dude's really good. You got to like a tight end who could line up as a quarterback and throw it. You can run it like a lead play as a quarterback. It's like it's a tight end of 44 out there. He's just a football player. Like when I say basketball player, guy just knows how to play. That dude's like a football player, just a football player. I wouldn't be too mad if they got him, but I still think offensive line, defensive line is probably the way to go. So, I mean, we'll get in the draft and I'll have some people on that know a lot more than I do, but I'm not going to spend an absurd amount of time. You want to come up? Come on. Okay. Don't hit your head on that. You got to lay down though. You can't just, I mean, do you have anything to say? You don't? No, we talk. This is like a talking format. You gotta say something. How about you turn around, lay down? Lay down. Bro, I'm actually on. I'm on. You can't you're blocking me, is what you're doing. She doesn't care. She really doesn't. So we'll just let her sit there for a minute. I don't know. Anything else? I'm trying to think. Anything else before I get into hoops? That I've missed over the last weekend that we want to hit? Well, you guys are allowed to talk. I got Max and Daniel over here. These guys are just like, oh, what you talk? Me talk? What do we have? I don't know. Devontae Adams, great. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on then. No, I got nothing. I got nothing for Devontae Adams. I got nothing for. No, I don't. I don't have anything for that. And we'll have again, we're gonna have plenty of stuff once we get closer to the draft. And yeah, well, again, we'll have guests. I know people love the draft. You guys go crazy for the draft. Absolutely ape shit. Like, oh my God, we got that guy. That's incredible. What do you like about that guy? I don't know. The magazines liked him. Everybody said he was really good. Like, you couldn't tell me. Like, again, I could be in your backyard, rebarking your backyard, and you wouldn't know who that dude was. You couldn't. I could just be chilling in your backyard, hanging out next to the waterfall, grabbing a beer. You have no idea who that guy was. But, all the publications say he's good. So why don't we get that? And I love that. Why don't we get this guy? Well, I don't know. How many times did you watch Maryland football last year? Oh, you watched the highlights, did you? Well, fucking you're Mel Kiper. I mean, yeah, you watched the highlights. Of course. Know this. They're highlights for a reason. Anybody looks good you can make anybody look good in highlights. I could look like an NBA Hall of okay, let me take that back. An all-star. Borderline. In highlights. And you put together enough good highlights. That dude could ball. That dude's pretty good. And then you watch the entirety of the game, you're like, Would it take you 3 months to put those highlights together? Yeah, about that. So that's why I don't get into that. And I only really talk about the guys that I've seen, multiple times. I'll talk about those guys, what I liked about them. I won't talk about offensive linemen because I don't know technique, what they're supposed to be doing, what the play was, what their assignments were, all that. I just don't. Defensive linemen, I mean, you can talk about a guy as a run stopper or a good get off, gets the quarterback, stuff like that. DB's hard because you follow the ball on TV, so you're not really sure what they're doing downfield. So that's not all that easy either. Quarterbacks, you can have an opinion on quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, stuff like that. I do love my guy from Arizona, Tedero McMillan. That guy is phenomenal. I don't know if I don't think he's a blazer, but man, the guy's got some mitts on him, absolute mitts. And he made some incredible catches this year. Good athlete. Do you think all the guys that play today would be making catches that are just incredible catches that I never saw growing up without those gloves? I don't. I think they're extremely talented. They're like walking around with like flypaper on their hands. They're just like, flap. Got it. I mean, it's wild, some of the catches those guys make. So anyway, I did want to get into this because I talked about it a little earlier on, and basketball and kind of the evolution of basketball over the last 40 years. I started when I played with the Warriors in 90, 89, 90, but I said, I'm going to go back to 85 too, because that's really, I love that era of basketball with the Lakers and the Celtics. Rockets were okay back then. Pistons were just kind of getting going at that point, but it was such a fun era, and I loved the way they played. I loved the style. I loved the skill of the players. It was just a really, really fun era. So let me get into a couple broader things before I talk about the numbers that I compiled here. I actually did some research. So one of the things, let me get into the thing that JJ Redick said, who said, back then you're playing against, like, a lot of the guys were plumbers or construction workers or TV repairmen or whatever the hell it was, whatever the hell he was talking about. And how guys, he didn't necessarily make this, but people infer from that, like, yeah, guys today would kick their ass, or guys back then couldn't play in this era. Well, yeah, no shit. I mean, do you realize how much more information we have today? You think they worried about their nutrition back then? Probably not. Do you think they worked out back then? Probably not. And I'm talking like 70s, maybe even 80s, certainly not 60s. Did they have personal trainers back then? Probably not. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and take away the probably. Not. They didn't. All right. There's so much different about basketball back then than there is today. If you're going to tell me, like, if you're actually going to be serious and tell me, look, if you took a guy like KD, or you took a great player today and dropped him back in the 70s, he would kick all their asses. I'd say, wow, you are incredibly bright. What's your second job? DNA sequencing? I mean, you must be really, really sharp to figure that one out. They're going to tell me a world-class athlete today who has the best information possible on nutrition, works out, has a private trainer, some of them chefs, get to work out 12 months out of the year, and understand their bodies way better than those guys understood their bodies. You're going to tell me that guy is going to kick someone's ass in the 70s? Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. But that's not the real comparison. The real comparison should be, take a guy like KD, who, by the way, would be great in any era, but take a role player that's pretty good today. I don't know. Just if you want to keep it local, we can go Moses Moody, who I like. I like Moses Moody. I think he's a really nice role player. I think he's playing a lot better than he is now. But Moses Moody, like, he still has all the same information to the nutrition, to the physical fitness aspect of it, to the and I forgot to mention that back then the coaching staff consisted of like two guys, head coach, assistant coach. When I played, I think there was four and one trainer, my guy Tommy Abdenauer. I think it was Gary St. Jean, Mike Schuler, Donnie Nelson, and then Coach Nelson. So I think there might have been four coaches and a trainer. That's it. Today, there's an army of coaches. Each player has his own individual coach to go out there and work out. Training staff, good Lord, I couldn't even tell you how many guys. There are more guys on the bench in sweatsuits than there are guys in uniform. And it's unbelievable the amount of money they spent. And I don't hate it. If I'm an owner of a team, that's part of my asset. Oh, excuse me. You're not an owner. You're a governor, because you don't own the team. Like, who decided that was like, we don't call them owners, call them governors. Okay, governor. Like, really? You got to call them governors now? They own the team. Okay? I don't think anybody said they own the players. I don't ever remember thinking back in the early 90s, man, these dudes own us? If the owner told us, go get him a sandwich, we got to do it. And I never thought that, because I was able to distinguish between the team and the players. Own the team, don't own the players. The players are employees. You pay them. But that's just, I mean, the whole. I've never. I should go up to Joe Lacob and go, "Hello, governor." I'm probably not going to do that though, because I like working for the Warriors. It's fun. I like Tim. But that always got me. That always got me. The owner and the governor and all that crap. But I look. I hate when I digress and I lose my way. It's like I'm Leslie Nielsen, a Naked Gun, walking. All of a sudden, he's like, "And where was I? I don't know. I don't know where I was." But what I was talking about, I know I was talking about Moses Moody being a really nice role player for the Warriors. Now take that same player and transport him back to 72. How do you think Moses Moody would do in 72? This Moses Moody would do very well, right? He's athletic, great shape, shoot the three, he can handle. I mean, all the things that these guys work on, they need in today's NBA. Back then, it's not, you can't just take a player and move him back to like 72 or 73. Now take a guy like Moses Moody and say, okay, you don't work out. You don't have coaches that are at your beck and call whenever you want to work out, work on your game, everything. You don't have that because there's only 3 coaches. That's it. You don't have a coach like say, hey, I'm going to call my personal coach, because the coach usually has a player or 2 on the team to go work out. You're not sure what to eat. I mean, you're just cramming burgers down your pie hole because, well, whatever. What's for dinner tonight? Meatloaf? Good. Sounds good to me. Okay, moving on, because you don't know how to eat. Of course you don't know how to maximize nutrition because it's 72. No one knew how to do that in 72. You can't transfer everything you know in 2025 to 1972. It doesn't work that way. Conversely, when people are like, oh, Bob Cousy couldn't play, look at Bob Cousy running around out there, dribbling all over the place, got his short shorts, the socks are falling down, all that kind of stuff. You guys are shooting 37%. You think Bob Cousy could play today? Well, yeah, Bob Cousy was great. Do you think Bob Cousy, that in this crazy alternate universe that's possible, that Bob Cousy from the 1960s, if you brought him to our era, do you think maybe he would have utilized the extra information on nutrition? Would have utilized the extra coaches and the coaching staff? Would have utilized all the extra trainers on the training staff? Would have benefited from flying private? Would have benefited from staying in 5-star hotels? Would have benefited from not playing back to back to back and belly to belly? Anyway, of course he would have. All those guys would have. So to like compare it, like the eras are the same, and you're just picking players and dropping them into a different era. Like, hey, great, okay. You know what? Guess what? We're better than Neanderthals too. How do you think Neanderthal would have done if you just dropped him into our society? Oh, I guess we know. Encino Man. Wheezing the Jews. Brendan Fraser, great role. He didn't do great. I mean, toward the end, he kind of got it. But like, you can't just take someone from an area and drop him somewhere else and go, oh, you're not as good as that guy. You don't even know how to handle a cell phone. What's a cell phone? What do you mean? It's a cell phone. No, what? What are you talking about? Like, can you imagine, like, General Patton today? Here, fight this war. What? What is that? What are drones? We get the and he's out there getting his ass kicked. Like, 5-star general, my ass. You kidding me? This guy can't do it. So, same in sports. You have to assume that the players from back then would utilize all the technology now, and then the players today wouldn't be able to utilize the technology they've used today. And oh, by the way, guess what? Steph Curry wouldn't be Steph Curry either, because they didn't have a 3-point line, and they didn't shoot 3-pointers back then. So a lot of players that play today that utilize the 3-point line for their game, null and void. Now, would Steph Curry be great? Yeah, because I always say greatness translates. If you're great, you find a way. Greatness finds a way. It's like that line in Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. Greatness finds a way. So if you're great in the 60s, you could play today. If you're great in the 70s, you could play today. Period. It's just, I'm sorry, if you're great, you figure it out. You figure out a way to get it done. And these guys would figure out a way to get it done. So that is the whole, like the whole plumbers and this. It's garbage. It's absolutely garbage to say that because the whole era was different. Everything was different. And you can't possibly know how those players would be with all the technological advancements and the information they get today. And you can't possibly know how all these players would handle not having all the technological advancements that they benefited from and all the medicinal advances that they benefited from, all the traveling advances that they benefited from, all the scheduling advances they benefited from, all the like the hotels, the food. Food back when I played, you got meal money. Here, you're on your own. Go get something to eat. Today you get meal money and they give you food. It's a great racket. It's an incredible racket. Here's $200 a day that you're never going to have to spend because we take care of your food. We're all good. And it's good food. When I travel with the Warriors, like you're going to Ruth Chris, you're going to incredible Mexican restaurants, just the best restaurants. And why wouldn't you? I mean, Joe Lacob does it right. Like I said, that's an investment. And he wants to take care of the entire investment, the entirety of it. Oh, that's where the governor's thing came on. Clicking now. I got it. It takes me a while to catch up sometimes, even to myself. Like, where did I leave off? And then like 20 minutes, I go, oh, that's I circled back around. I got it. But no, Joe does it right. Joe like gives everybody like you have no excuse not to succeed. At least he gives you everything available, everything that he can give you, he gives the guys. So you think they're eating at Ruth Chris's in 70s? I don't even know if Ruth Chris's was around in the 70s. I mean, it's probably like McDonald's or just grab what you can grab. That's probably what it was. I don't know. All I know is in the late 80s, early 90s, it wasn't like we were eating at steakhouses all the time. We used to eat every once in a while. We'd go out as a team and eat. And we went to a Benihana style restaurant. We had a great meal. It's like 8 of us. And we all went and just like a $500 bill, which back then was fairly significant. And we played the credit card game. And whoever got drawn last had to pay. And it came down to me and Alton Lister. Alton Lister's card got drawn. I had to pay. He was so happy. He was so happy that it wasn't his card that got picked. And I go, bro, how much more money are you making than me? I go, that hurt. That hurt. Okay. I'm not going to be a little bitch about it. Okay. I'm going to pay it like a man. And he goes, what? And we were just messing around with each other. But it did kind of piss me off a little bit. Like, why are you so happy? That's the thing, though. Guys got happy. It didn't matter how much money you had. If you're saving money, dudes were pumped up about it. Dudes were pumped up about it. You don't know how happy these guys were to get an envelope of cash. Like, just, it was like $240 of cash. Wasn't even that much cash, but they were pumped. They were like super pumped. And I remember asking one of them one time, like, look, you make over $1 million. Why are you so happy about $240 in cash? And he just looks at me and he said, because this is mine. Inferring that, wife didn't get any of that one. He got the full 240. This is mine. Okay, whatever. And yes, we did use a lot of it. I saw somebody chime in. Yeah, we did use a lot of it to gamble. At least I did. I had to supplement my income. I was like, I got to make that damn money back. I got to make that Benihana money back somehow. So yeah, when I gambled, I won. I didn't lose those guys. In fact, I was playing Tyrone Hill one time on the plane. We were playing blackjack coming home. It was him and Alton Lister were playing. And then I said, I'll play. And they were playing for $20 a hand. So I go, sure, I'll play with you guys. So put my money down, do a couple hands, and Tyrone Hill was the bank. He was dealing to both me and Alton Lister. So he dealt to Alton Lister, and he'd win some. I'd win, or he'd split, pay here, pay there, whatever. So get to a hand, and I have a 19, and of course I stay because I'm a sane person. And Alton Lister stays, and Tyrone Hill, who was dealing at the time, had like a 16, so he hit, and he hit a 6. 22. He reaches for the money and takes some, and I stopped. I go, what are you doing? So what are you doing? That's 22. And he said, well, no, I'm closer than you are to 21. Oh, I said, what are you fucking what are you talking about? You're closer than me. Dude, you ever watch Price is Right? Like you went over, you lose. It's over. Done. It's closest to 21 without going over. No, it's not. We argued for 10 minutes on that. 10 minutes. Finally, I had to poll the whole team. Like, look, and I told, I'm like, I'm fucking Mr. Vegas. I go to Vegas all the time. I shouldn't have to go to Vegas. You don't have to go to Vegas to know how to play blackjack, but I'm trying to help you out here. It's not closest to 21. It's 21 or under. 21 being the best hand, then 20, then 19, then 18. If I have a 3 and I decide to stay, again, I'm not insane, so I wouldn't. But if you have 22 and I have 3, I win. I didn't go over. So we finally got that taken care of. Fine. It took way too long. Like there's just no way it should have taken that long to explain to somebody like, look, no. So a few hands later, I get a 20, he gets a 20, he reaches for my money again. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? He goes, oh, dealers take ties. I go, my ass, they do. I go, that's a push. I go, nobody wins. I go, money stays on the table. He goes, no, it does. No. And I go, that's it. I go, I've had it with you. I go, if you want to play, dealers take ties. I'll give you this. But I'm going to deal from now on. And we're going to play for $100 a pop. Okay? And I'll take ties. Tie. He said no. And I go, well, no. Hold on a second. So if you don't want to do it because I'm taking ties, you know you're getting an advantage you shouldn't have. No. I go, yeah. I told you I'll deal. $100 a hand, and I'll take ties. And look, I'll still play that I can't go over 21. Okay, I'll be nice. Like it's not closest to 21. It's 21 or under. So he didn't want to do it. So I just took my $20 from my pocket, went back. That was the end of that game. I was like, bro, I mean, I got to get you one of those blackjack books. You need help with the rules because no. And then we used to play between the sheets. Some people call it. So 2 cards. Let's say it's a 7 and a king. And you bet how much you want to bet out of the pot if you can get between the 7 and the king. If you match the 7 and the king, you double the pot. Outside the 7 and the king, you just match the pot. So you could match it, double it, or you win the pot. And we had like 3,100 in it one night. And Nelly was playing with us. It's like the whole team, Nelly, and I was back there playing. And so the first card I get's an ace. And the first ace you can call high or low. We always call the first ace low because the second ace automatically high. And that's what you're praying to get. Ace. So I got an ace, called it low. Called another ace. I got another ace. So I had high, low aces. I'm like, oh man. Can I go for 3,100? Because the only thing that's going to happen here is I win or I double. I can't go outside the aces. I got to match the ace. And it was the first 2 aces of the deck. So there's 3 aces left. And now you thought that Benihana check hurt for like 500-600, 6,200 really would have put a damper on the trip. It really would have. So I'm like, okay, what's the most I'm willing to lose on this? And I decided I would play for 3,200, so I'll go for 1,600. And of course, it comes up like a 10. I'm like, hey, what an idiot. How could you get a better chance to go for the entire pot? The entire pot. But I did win 1,600, long story short. I ended up winning like 2,400 on the evening, and I got a nice check. from Don Nelson. And if I'd have had a lot more money, I would have saved it. I wouldn't have cashed it. I'd have Ricky Henderson. I would have just like said, screw it. I don't even want to cash it. I mean, I guess I could have got the, cash it and then kept the receipt or something, but I didn't. But yeah, we were writing checks back then. Writing checks. Like, here you go. Here's a check for you. And we had IOUs and stuff. If guys didn't have enough cash on them, we had like a pile of IOUs in there. Like I owe the pot 500. I owe the pot 800. I owe the pot 400. I owe the pot 1700. And if you won, you take the cash out first, and then the IOUs were left. It always sucked getting an IOU. You're like sifting through the IOUs. Let's see. Is there one here for 1000? One here for 1100? Okay, I'll take you for 700 and you for 400. Okay, so I get you for 4, you for 7, and then we're good to go. The only thing good about the IOUs, if you lost, you just throw them back in the pot. It's like, whatever. Here, take an IOU. Nothing says I don't care, like just IOUs. Like, nah, I'll just throw an IOU back on there. It's like not even real cash. And so anyway, that leads me to my topic that I wanted to. It doesn't really lead me into anything. I don't even know how I got there, which is what happens. But so we're talking about the difference between that era and this era, and how you can't drop guys in different eras and say they're great, they suck, they couldn't play, they could play. Trust me, they could play. One of my least favorite things to hear is the skill of today's players is better than the skill of the players when I played, or the era before I played. And it's nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. Like, first off, let's define skill. What is a skill in basketball? Here's what I wrote down: shooting, passing, dribbling, just knowing how to play, post play, mid-range game, defense. There's probably more, but that's what I wrote down. So what are today's players better at? Are they better shooters? Better long-range shooters? There's no doubt about it. Of course, nobody shot long-range back in the day. 1990, my first year with the Warriors, the league averaged 6.6 three-pointers a game. 6.6. Today, teams average 37.5 three-pointers a game. Back then, the league shot 33% from three. Today, 35.8. So not a drastic difference, but, significant, 3%. But they shoot 6 times as many three-pointers now. So it wasn't like guys couldn't shoot. They just didn't shoot. That wasn't the game. That's not the way the game was played. Because if I say mid-range shooting, the guys back then were definitely better than today, because guys don't take them today. They don't want you taking them today. Like, three-pointers were about as much a part of the game back then as mid-range is today. It's not incorporated into any game plan whatsoever, and nobody really wants them. It just stay away from mid-range game today, stay away from threes back then. And not even stay away from three. It hadn't fully caught on yet. A generation hadn't spent their days in a gym shooting three-pointers, weren't at the park shooting three-pointers, weren't in college or high school being taught the three-point line is a weapon and we're going to utilize it. So the whole game is different than it was back then. Is passing better today than it was back then? Again, it's so hard to tell because the court is so open today. You watch teams, and you watch the Celtics, who shoot the most threes in a game. They shoot 48 threes in a game. And I'll get into that a little bit as well. But that whole court is wide open. So what is the passing today? Mostly pick and rolls. Maybe guys will slip, guys will back cut, stuff like that. But it's really, it's really easy to pass today because the court's so open. Back when I played 1990, and I'll get to 85 in a little bit as well, the court is congested because nobody's guarding the three-point line. So whereas today, everything is spread out, back then, everything is packed in. So to get through the lane and maneuver through the lane and score in the lane, extremely difficult because no one's on the outside. Today, you can get to the lane almost whenever you want to because everybody's on the perimeter. Today's game is outside in. Back then was inside out. So again, were the passes bad? Were they better passing today? I mean, we got some really good passing. We got some really good passers in today's game. Were they better than Magic? Were they better than Bird? Were they better than Isaiah? I mean, we had some it's incredible players back then. So I don't know. Dribbling, players dribble better today. There's no doubt about that. That is one skill that is without a doubt better in today's era. Not even close. And it's because they're taught again, more coaches, more time to work on ball handling, more understanding of ball handling, and more of a premium put on ball handling. Why? Because the game's played outside. So you got to be able to penetrate, collapse the defense, kick, penetrate, collapse the defense, kick. I mean, do you ever see Steph's pregame routine? You know, with the dribbling and all that kind of stuff. I mean, 80% of the league probably would have vomited trying to do that back when I was playing. Like, what? What are we doing here? Why are we juggling? No, we're not juggling. We're going to ball handling. You know, hand eye, boom, 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 boom. But nobody really needed that back then because, again, there wasn't that much room on the court to do those sort of things. So the ball handling is way better today. Again, not even close. Know how to play? Hard to say. I mean, it's really hard to say whether guys understood the game more when I was playing or today. I think it's a simpler game today in that it's draw, kick, look for threes, draw, kick, look for a layup, draw, kick, look for threes, do it again. So that's what a lot of people are saying when they said the game looks a lot alike. It does. It does look a lot alike. And for my money, there's probably too many threes, and they jumped the shark a little bit on that. But that's what they want. That's what the analytics say. You know, games were fairly similar back when I played too. Not as similar as they are today. But, you know, post up, draw the double team, cut, all that. It just, it's just a different era. And what's of value to you during that era isn't of value to teams in this era. So I don't know. The know how to play is kind of ambiguous a little bit. Like that one's a hard one to kind of wrap your head around. Post play, not even close. Not even close. Post play back in the day was 1,000. Like, what dribbling is today compared to back then, that's what post play was back then compared to today. I mean, nobody aside from maybe Jokic. Jokic is incredible. Jokic is an any era type guy. Like his post game's phenomenal. Of course, you know what's different? The guys guarding you in the post are different than they used to be too. Because the guys aren't as big as they used to be. They're not used to banging you in the post. You're not used to getting banged in the post. So again, a different game. But I mean, come on. Barkley, Malone, Akeem, Ewing, Kareem. I mean, I go on. Terry Cummings. I mean, you had some monsters in the post, and they were just dominant. And so the post play back then is not even close. Mid-range game, not even close. They valued the mid-range game, so I'm not going to get on about that because three-point shooting today is way better than it was back then. Mid-range game's better back then. So, and then defense, again, what do you want out of your defense? Today's defense is asked to do so much. I tell you what, it's more difficult to play defense today than it was back then because you have so much ground to cover today. It's absurd how much ground you have to cover. I mean, guys are spaced out all over the court. You got to help, and then you got to try to get out like 15, 16 feet to the guy with the ball. And then you got to stop and then try to recover and slide your feet and get in front of him. That's why when you get beat off the first action, if you can keep the team from getting to the paint, that's a win. Because once they get to the paint, now it all starts, right? It's all like a draw, kick, help and recover. And then someone ends up shooting a three. As opposed to back in the 80s, early 90s, it wasn't that way. Again, courts compacted. So it's hard to get to the lane. You kick it out, they'll live with jump shots. Why wouldn't you live with a 19-foot two-pointer as opposed to at the rim two-pointer? And nobody's shooting three, so they're not stretching the court. So it's easier to play defense because you don't have as much ground to cover. Today, the ground you have to cover is again, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely, utterly absurd. So I would say it's harder to play defense today than it was back in the day, just because of all the ground you have to cover. And again, the shooting comes into play. I don't know that today's shooters are better than back in the day. They are better long range shooters than they were back in the day. Ball handling is better today, without a doubt. And that really stresses a defense out as well. So what era was better? I think they're both good. I mean, I think I love the 80s. That's my favorite era of basketball. The 90s was Jordan, and then after Jordan, it kind of got wonky after that, right? That's when we got the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was like, oh, you're killing me. There's an actual playoff game where the finals like 66-62. Like, come on. That's not basketball. That's like they had a ball out there and it was like a team mugging event. And they just spent it's like a bar fight. It was brutal. So you had to get rid of that. And then you get to, okay, let's let the guys let's let them get freedom of movement. And that worked out. And then all of a sudden, toward the end of started moving that way toward '05 to '10, stuff like that. And then 10 to 20 got a little better. And the Warriors happened in 15, ball movement, kicking, switching on defense and just running out lineups that could do multiple things was fun to watch. And then everyone started doing it. I'm not saying the Warriors ruined the game by shooting threes, because I have some numbers that they didn't even lead the league in 3-point shots that year. They were like third, I believe it was. So it wasn't like they were just jacking up threes. They were one of the best teams in history, certainly of that year, but in history in mid-range shots. They're incredible at the mid-range shot. But so we went from mugging people to not letting them touch people, and it became almost impossible to play defense. And then you had guys like James Harden baiting the officials and throwing your arms up and getting to the free throw line 13 times, 14 times. It was a joke. It's horrible basketball to watch. Awful. And I don't blame him for it. It worked. Got him to the free throw line, helped the team win, got him paid. So I don't blame him. If the officials are going to let you get away with it, you'd be stupid not to take advantage of it if you could. So I think we're at a pretty good spot right now in terms of officiating. So we've kind of gone back the other way a little bit, where they're letting you play defense a little bit. They're not letting you bait the officials. If it's a non-basketball play, one of my least favorite plays of all time is when a guy fakes a shot and then jumps into another player. He's like not trying to shoot. He's just trying to draw the foul. I always thought that was garbage. They've gotten rid of that. So that's better now than it was over the last few years. But I sit around, I listen to these guys. Yo-Yo's talking about how the players weren't skilled. I think Anthony Edwards talked about, Jordan was the only skilled guy back in the day. Has he ever heard of Bird? Dominique? Isaiah Thomas, Moses Malone, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Kevin McHale, Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon, Alex English, Clyde Drexler, Kareem, Worthy, Aguirre. I mean, have you ever heard of any of those players? Any of them? I mean, there was incredible talent back in the 80s. I would even say these guys are a more diverse talent group than there is today. Absolutely would put those guys against anybody, any era, in terms of what they could do in all facets of the game. They could be very good in. Absolutely. So to say the skill wasn't there, again, when you say skill, tell me what you're talking about. If you're talking about ball handling and long range shooting, no era can compare to this era, because it's taken a ramp up, right? It's taken somebody, some fucking nerd somewhere that says, you know what? Three is more than 2. Bill, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Like, it takes a Yale fucking degree to figure that one out, right? Like, really? Yeah. Way to go. You must also be on that DNA sequencing squad. Like, you're brilliant. You came up with that? But someone finally figured that out and said, okay, let's just start jamming threes. But it wasn't just let's start jamming threes. It probably started in high school where you had undermanned teams that weren't as tall, couldn't compete, and had the 3-point line. And then said, well, hell, what are we doing? Let's shoot threes. You saw it in college, creeping in. That's why you guys started getting some like upsets of like big name teams, like teams you never even heard of. You're like, what are these guys? 3-ball. The 3-ball is the ultimate equalizer, right? You can make 50 field goals. And the other team can make 33. And they're down a point. 33, that's it. 33% compared to 50%. 33-3. So, and then it just became like this thing in the NBA, like, well, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't we shoot threes? Why wouldn't we try to take the best shot available? The best shot available is a layup. Second best shot available is a corner 3. Those are the 2 shots everyone's looking for. Corner 3, layup. That's it. And now it's almost like corner 3's moved out to the break because guys are so adept at shooting the threes now. And they can shoot them in a variety of different ways. But still, the corner 3 and the layups are the shot everybody wants to get. But now we've gone from a game that has, George Gervin's finger roll, Larry Bird's fall away, Michael Jordan's freaking everything, Kareem's skyhook, Magic's baby skyhook, big game James with the spin baseline and the finger roll, Jeff Malone with Bernard King with the leaners that they had. It's so many different shots, so many different moves. And again, we don't get that today. What do we get? We get threes. That's what you get. You get threes and some dunks. That's what you get. If Kareem played today, they'd probably go, yeah, I don't know. That fucking skyhook. I don't know. I don't really need that. Do you shoot a 3? No, I'm Kareem. I have a skyhook. That didn't work in today's game. Not sure about that one. George Gervin, finger roll. Can you do that from 3? No, I can do it from 2. Pretty sweet, too. Nah. Mid-range finger roll, right? Nah. Beat it with that. We don't want that. Oh, Magic. Baby hook. That's sweet. Nah, we don't want that either. Get that garbage out of here. You got threes? You got 3? No, I'll shoot a 3. Kind of a set shot. 3. That's the All-Star game that I just gave you a whole bunch of those All-Stars. I loved the All-Star game back then. It was sweet. Let me give you a stat while you're watching this. Larry Nance. That dude dunked on me, man. God, that guy can get up. Look at Bird. Yeah. What a shoot it over the backboard. We're good. Hondo. Look at that. A block shot in an All-Star game. Holy shit. What are these guys trying to prove? Oh, look at Bird going for what are they doing? Look at these jerk-offs playing defense. Look at that. Oh, Kareem. Can't stop that. Swing left, shoot right. Fast break. Oh, look at McHale. Oh, that was Lambeer. Look at that. Actually got back Rolando. The guy's underrated. Rolando Blackman for the Mavs. A little flat-footed there, weren't you, Bill? I think you were. There's Bernard King at the free throw line. Look at that. Guys actually, get back on defense. What are you doing? Hey. Terry Cummings can't dribble the ball like that. Oh, George, the Iceman. So I looked up these stats from, is this 88? 85. Okay, 85 is great too. You leave it there. That's fine. Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson was like Wembanyama before Wembanyama, except he didn't shoot threes. Well, you know why? Because 7'4" guys didn't fucking shoot threes back then. 6'4" guys didn't either, for that matter. Nobody did. But when we say, I said it too. I go, oh man, we've never seen anybody like Wembanyama. My good friend Jim Peterson pointed out to me, he goes, well, we did see Ralph Sampson. I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty good point. That's a pretty good point, because Could Ralph Sampson have been Wembanyama if they asked him to handle the ball, if they asked him to shoot threes, if he came up in academy, if he trained differently, if the coaches coached him differently? Like maybe. Could Wembanyama have not been Wembanyama? Maybe he would have been Ralph Sampson if he'd have grown up in the 80s. But here's some stats I looked, because I looked at the 88 All-Star game versus the 2024 All-Star game. And this is just kind of fun. This is just stuff that I wanted to look up because I thought it was kind of fun. So, because the All-Star game's garbage. Can we all agree on that? We all agree on the All-Star game's just garbage. I said it earlier. If you're not going to try, then don't bother. Don't show up. Put up those, just let those run too. Because I want to let people know, like, it's not the whole All-Star game back then was like guys trying the entire game. Like it's still an All-Star game, but they're in the picture. Like they're actually in the picture. Like, hey, we're going to act. Look at that. Jordan tried to actually block a shot. What are you doing, goofball? Can't look at Bird. Oh, let's fight for the rebound. Oh, go up, Akeem. They're like, oh, Akeem, man, you bastard. The rolling hook. Akeem got it, and they actually said, you know what, we're going to try to keep you from scoring here. And Akeem said, no, you're not. I'm the dream, bitches. And get you, Xavier McDaniel. But, like, they were actually, like, playing a little bit. And this is what I was trying to tell you guys. Like, this isn't playoff intensity. But, look, everybody back on defense. Guys are actually trying to challenge shots a little bit. It's just, let's give it a game effort. Not much of an effort there, to be honest. I was just like, nah. Let Nick do his thing. Let him do his thing. But this is what I've been saying. These are the All-Star games that I remember. Best versus best, and guys that actually tried to play a little bit. And like that took 3 passes to score the layup. It wasn't just, now guys get out of the way. They're like, let's just let him dunk. Let's let the crowd have some fun. We'll dunk, get out of the way. There you go. This is the 85 All-Star game versus the 2024 All-Star game. And this will just give you an idea of how the game has changed. And this isn't for better or for worse, although I would suggest for All-Star game purposes. I mean, look, that happens in the All-Star game too. You're just like, guys, like, okay, we're just going to let Michael Jordan do Michael Jordan stuff. We're not going to get in his way. So 88 All-Star game. Number of threes taken, number of free throws taken. 2024, number of threes taken, number of free throws taken. Again, draw your own conclusions on this. The one conclusion I have on this, and I'll tell you afterward, but this lets you know, this gives you an idea of how much the game has changed in 40 years. 40 years. And don't tell me these guys aren't skilled, okay? Don't tell me these guys can't play, and don't you dare tell me that these guys couldn't play in today's NBA. Don't you dare say that. Well, they couldn't shoot the 3 because they didn't shoot the 3. You gonna tell me any of these guys, if they worked on the 3 and that was part of the game back in the 80s, they couldn't have adjusted and shot 3s? Of course they could have. Don't be that dense, okay? If they set a back screen in an All-Star game to actually get somebody open, holy smokes. These guys must be smoking something. Wow. You got to set back screens? Unbelievable. Somebody trying to get back on defense, 3 guys back on defense, and you can't stop Jordan anyway. It doesn't matter. So 88, number of threes taken in the 1988 All-Star game, 11. 11 threes. Number of threes taken in the 2024 All-Star game. I didn't use this year's because this year's was stupid. So we just didn't use this year's. So last year's I used. Slight uptick over the 11. 126 threes. A grand total of 115 more threes taken in the All-Star game. So it's just like get up, jacket. I mean, jack to 11. Free throws. 2024. Free throw attempts. Because all the defense they were playing. Trying to stop guys from scoring. 4. 4 free throw attempts. It almost makes you believe those happened by accident. Like, I don't know how anybody got to the line. What the hell was that? 4 times. Like 4? 4 times? You got to be kidding me. Now, number of free throw attempts, they may have been overdoing a little bit in 88, but they were trying, right? You can see they're trying. They're playing defense. It's not just let me go down and score and let me go down and score and you go down and score and I'll give you a nice tap on the ass when you score. I'll give you some knuckles when you score. Let me dap you up. Oh, man, you just drilled a sweet 3 on our team. Give me 5. You're not even on my team. But that was sweet anyway, though. Nice shot, bro. Way to go. Crowd got a kick out of it. So that's not this. That is not this. So, I love that skyhook. Number of free throws shot in 1988 All-Star game, 77. 70 fucking 7 free throws in an All-Star game. Again, it may have been overdoing it a little bit. That sounds like a lot for any game. Like, I don't love free throws. It just slows the game down. But, man, 77 free throws. And I would say this. They tried, right? They tried. They wanted to win. They gave it a little bit of an effort. So that's what I'm talking about. But it also, I wanted to illustrate that's how much the game has changed. Because the numbers I'm about to tell you, and this isn't right or wrong. I'm going to get into the entertainment value here in a minute. But so I started off in 85. Again, just for no good reason other than it was the Lakers and the Celtics, and I love watching basketball. Back in 85, it was about 4 years until I got into the NBA. But 1985, I think the Lakers were the champ that year. The average number of points scored in the NBA is 110.8. 3.1 3-point attempts a game. 3.1. That's it. 3.1 3-point attempts. They shot a robust 28.8, 29% from threes. Average field goal attempts were 89.1. So they got up and down. They were going in 85. People say, oh, they didn't run. The pace is faster now. Pace is not faster now than it was back in the mid-80s. Those dudes were flying, okay? Go look up Showtime. Not the TV show, though. Go look at something else. 2-point percentage, 49, and they shot 29.4 free throws a game. So they shot a lot of free throws back then. A lot. Again, I like to limit free throws a little bit. That's one part of today's game that I like more, is that it's not a parade to the line. The line just gets old again, takes all the flow out of the game. I just don't like it. So the year I started with the Warriors, that was 5 years later. I do these in 5-year increments because I figured that'd be the best way to do it. I didn't feel like doing every year. I bore myself. 1990, 6.6. And these are going to be attempts and percentage, 3 points. 6.6, 33. 95, 9.9, 33. 2000, 13.2, 34. 2005, 14.9, and almost 35%. So you're starting to creep up a little bit with the percentages. And this is where it takes a big jump. From 05 to 10, we go from 14.9 to 18.1. And then it's 37%. And every 5-year increment, that's still the highest. 2010's higher than today. 2015, 21.5. And then another massive jump between 15 and 20. Now it's 36% in 2015. The average, but let me give you the points. 2015, 100 points a game. 100 points a game. So in 30 years, it went from 110.8 to 100. 100. That's when the league started doing something about it. They said, oh, this sucks. What are we doing? Averaging 100 points a game. 2020, 111.8. This is where we take the jump. 15 was 21.5 3-pointers. 2020, 32 3-pointers a game. That's almost 11 3-pointers a game in 5 years that everybody decided, okay, this is how we're going to play. We're going to have guys spacing. We're going to have guys high pick and roll, because that's what leads to all this, high pick and rolls, right? You get a lot of high pick and rolls. Defense has got to figure out how to play it. Penetration, kick back to the big guy. They want the big guys to be able to shoot a little bit now, so it draws the defense, and then kick. And so 32, 35%. That's pretty stagnant. In fact, 35%, 35.5 was down from 3.67 10 years earlier. So they actually shot it better in 2010. They just shot a whole bunch more in 2020. It's volume. It's volume. It's volume. Get up as many 3-pointers as you can. Just out volume the other team. And then this year, we're not through the entire year, but we have enough games to give us a reasonable sample. We went from 32 last year to 37.5 this year. So we're almost at 43 pointers a game. And the number percentage-wise is about the same, 35.8. So the number over the last 15 years, 10 years, has been pretty stagnant, and it's actually gone down from 2010 and hasn't gone up that much from 2005 or 05, because 05 was 347. This year is 358, 1%. And you're talking in 20 years. So you're telling me everybody's a better shooter today? Everybody's a better long-range shooter today than they were 20 years ago? I don't know. They shoot them a hell of a lot more. In 05, they shot 14.9 a game. They shoot 37 now. That's almost triple what they shot 20 years ago. So, field goal attempts, I put that on here too, just to kind of illustrate the pace. My first year with the Warriors, the average field goal attempts were 87.2. They went down to 80.3 in 05. Real slow game, just plodding. And now they're getting back up there. 2020, 88.8. This year, 89.2. So the pace is quicker. I like it. I like they're getting them down. Free throws aren't as much. I enjoy that too. That's part of the game I enjoy. My first year with the Warriors, 27.9 free throws per game, or per team. This year, or an 85 is 29.4. It's a lot of free throws. This year, 21.8. I like that. So the pace and space does have its benefits. There's no doubt about it. And I do like the flow of the game. They're just different eras and different players asked to do different things. Do I like one over the other? Yeah, my preference is the 80s. I love 80s basketball. It's what I grew up watching. It's like a lot of young kids today will say, I love this era. Well, because some of my favorite players grew up in this era. But some of the greatest players in this era, I mean, can you tell me that Giannis is more skilled than Hakeem with a straight face? Giannis is one of the greatest players in today's game. Giannis could have played in the 80s, absolutely. But it would have been different. The lane wouldn't have been wide open for dunks. There wouldn't have been four guys spacing. It would have been a much different game. It would have been much tougher to score because there would have been a lot more guys down there, a lot more traffic down there. Doesn't take away his greatness. It's different. He would have had a tougher time. Kevin McHale, would he have a tougher time? All big guys would have a tougher time playing today because now you got to get out and guard the perimeter. You have to guard the pick and roll, and then you have to guard the perimeter for a little bit, and the rotations are totally different. So again, I think Kevin McHale would have scored like 35 a game today. Would he have given up 40? I don't know. So to compare the players and the eras and say this player couldn't play in this era, this player couldn't, it's all BS. They would have just had to adjust. And they would have, but their games would have been much, much different. So lastly, what I wanted to get into was let's see if I have anything else written down here. Oh, by the way, this is a small sample size, and this will kind of lead me into what I wanted to talk to. Oh, by the way, real quick, 1985, the Mavs led the league in 3-point field goal attempts per game. 5.4. This year, the Celtics lead the league 48. 48 compared to 5.4. I mean, I was laughing when I looked at that. I go, 5.4? That's it? Like the Celtics averaged 12 a quarter, and the Mavericks averaged 5.4 in 85. In fact, the year I started playing, the Cavaliers led the league in 3-point, or not the year I started playing, the year I played with the Warriors, 10.4. They were tops in the league. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, Steve Kerr was on that team. One of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time. Mark Price on that team. Craig Elo on that team. That's like, wow, these guys shoot a lot of threes. 10.4. 10. Again, Celtics averaged 12 a quarter. They shot 10.4 a game, and it was number one in the league. So since Saturday, I tracked this. So small sample size, only 19 games. Some of them were tied. Team that made the most 3-pointers, 17-2 over the last 3 days. 17-2 over the last 3 days. So the question becomes, is not the players, it's the style they're being asked to play. Because again, I mentioned Giannis. He would have been different back in the 80s. He would have succeeded. He's a great player. Just like Kevin McHale would have succeeded had he played today. There's no doubt in my mind. So here's the question, and this has been a debate by a lot of people, is, well, you know what? Before I get to the debate, because that's the last thing I'm going to do is a debate. I just want to kind of tie a bow on it a little bit, and I might even bring this up. We're going to have Ray Ratto on Friday, and I'll bring it up with him as well, and we'll incorporate all the sports in this. But before I do that, we have a new graphic that I've been like dying to unveil, and I'm a little thirsty as well. So Max, if you could hit our new graphic, while I grab myself a beverage. All right, we're back. I'm back. Today, Odds and Dots, one of my favorite from Sante Adaris, unfiltered IPA. Very, very tasty. I think this is a Nelson beer. Is it Nelson? It is Nelson. Not Charles Nelson Riley. Yeah, not him. You know what I should get? My buddy sent me. That was pretty sweet. It's a Charles Nelson Riley shower curtain, and I could put it behind me. That'd be sweet. Charles Nelson Riley. I think he had the pipe and the ascot. The ascot was awesome. I love that thing. All right, we're gonna get to some questions too. I know people are wondering if I was going to take some questions. I am. We'll do it at the end of the show. So they'll put them up on screen or just give them to me, and I'll answer your questions. So To kind of wrap this up, I think, look, in my opinion, you know how I feel. I feel it's unfair to grade players of one era against the other era. I just don't think you can do it. The only way you can do it is how were you against your peers? How did you play in that era? How did you stack up in that era? It's not how you stacked up somebody that played 40 years later or how you stack up against somebody that played 40 years earlier. It's not fair. The game's totally different, which is why when people ask me who would win, the Warriors dynasty or the Bulls in the 90s, and I was like, well, what rules are we playing by? And it's a different game. Oh, Jordan didn't shoot threes. Jordan couldn't shoot threes. I go, no, Jordan didn't shoot threes. You tell me Michael Jordan couldn't shoot threes? What? You actually think Michael Jordan didn't work on a 3-point shot if that was part of today? Like Michael Jordan couldn't play today. Didn't shoot the long ball. Wouldn't be as good. Yeah, I'm guessing Michael Jordan would have learned how to shoot the long ball, and he would have been proficient as hell at shooting the long ball, all the while killing your ass in the mid-range game and dunking on your entire team. I'm guessing Michael Jordan would have been okay. I'm guessing LeBron James would have been okay back in the 80s. That body? You kidding me? LeBron James in the 80s, how powerful he is, how physical he is, his speed, a guy that doesn't rely on the three ball. Yeah, he would have crushed it in the 80s. Well, that's why he's one of the greatest ever. Like those guys transcend. So don't do that. Don't get caught in that. Don't think that the guys back in the 60s sucked and the guys in the 70s weren't as good and they weren't as athletic and they weren't as skilled and all that. It's all garbage. Somebody tries to tell you that, it's garbage, period. But here's what I wanted to get to, because we're talking about the different styles in today's game back then. What's better? It's whatever you like. It's whatever you like. I mean, you may like vanilla and I might like, I don't even know what I like, ice cream. I was going to come up with something like chocolate. I don't really like chocolate ice cream. Got to be honest with you. When I get a chocolate shake, I get vanilla ice cream, chocolate syrup. That's the only way to drink a chocolate shake. It's not chocolate ice cream and then milk, okay? Not going to happen for me. The only way I'll have a chocolate shake is vanilla ice cream and then give me some Bosco. You ever had a Bosco? Oh, Bosco shake. Incredible. Bosco. Love Bosco shakes. Or Nesquik. Get that, get some of that powder in there, that bunny powder. Speaking of bunnies, goddamn, I left the bunny outside. It's getting dark too. I'm gonna have to go get that. Yeah, I have to go get that bunny pretty soon. I always forget, like, oh damn, that's right, the bunny's out there. If you see me tilt like this, that's because the bunny's been digging outside the house and probably it's off its moorings, like a hockey game. It's just like tilted. Our house is tilted. It's off the foundation. But it's not about comparing. It's not about one better than the other. Although, again, I like the 80s as much as the era that I played in. And I was lucky because I played for Nelly and I played with the Warriors, and we played a fun style of basketball. We ran up and down, didn't defend with a damn, but it was a fun style of basketball. But you may enjoy this. You may enjoy the 3-pointers. You may enjoy almost 40 3-pointers a game. I don't know. But here's what I want to get to. Where is it going? And are we sacrificing? I want to get to this in all sports at some point. Are we sacrificing efficiency for entertainment? Because to me, almost 40 3-pointers a game isn't that entertaining. Again, it feels like the same. High pick and roll, draw and kick, penetrate, doop, boop, boop, shoot a three. And then that doesn't mean that's all they do. Right? I mean, you got some incredible guys that get into the rim, incredible penetrators, and I think they could do more. They're just not asked to do more because that's not what's taught nowadays. Threes, layups, stay away from mid-range game. So a lot of the creativity in the mid-range is gone. It's just gone, and that doesn't appeal to me. I want to see George Gervin's finger roll. I want to see the sky hook. I want to see the baby hook. I want to see the fadeaway turnaround jump shot, the fadeaway jump shot, the up and unders, drop step, stuff, all that stuff. I want to see that. The diversity in basketball was much better back then, much better. So is efficiency killing sports in a sense? Is it killing basketball? Do you find it the same? Is it monotonous sometimes? Because here's the thing. Efficiency works. Right? Threes more than twos. Jack up a bunch of threes, just out volume teams. Figure out a way to get good looks from three. I get it. I totally understand it. And if I ran a team, do you think I care about entertainment? Do you think I care about the big picture? I don't. I care about winning. Mark Jackson said this a number of years ago when he was coaching the Warriors. It was a game they played against the Orlando Magic. I think Dwight Howard went to the line 46 times. It was a god awful basketball game, a horrific watch. I don't know how I made it through the game. Like, it was that bad. What are we going to do? Dwight Howard going to the free throw line. Think about that. One player, you could check this stat for me. I'm pretty sure it's 46 times in a game. I'm almost positive. Like, it was a rough watch. They asked Mark Jackson about it at the end of the game. He said, I don't care. They asked about the entertainment value. He goes, my job's to win. And you know what? He was absolutely right. Why should he care about entertainment? He's not out there to entertain you. He's not Maximus. He's out there to win the game. Period. With the NBA today, I'm wondering, each team you're the GM. You're tasked with winning. That's it. That's your only concern. Your concern isn't ratings. Your concern isn't entertainment value. That's what they have the shirt guns for, right? Play music, shoot T-shirts all over the place. You know my favorite part of that? When they drop stuff from the ceiling, get Starbucks coffee or McDonald's fries or something, and people in the first two rows are reaching for them. Like, but what are you doing? What are you doing? You're probably worth $500 million and you're reaching for a free McDonald's fry? Like, get out of here. Stop doing that. You're embarrassing yourself. It just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If it's free, it's me. Everybody loves free stuff. They don't care. It's all about free stuff. So I don't care about ratings. I don't care about entertainment. I care about winning. Now I got to find what's the best way for my team to win? How do I use my analytics to be the most efficient team in the NBA? What does that say? Well, right now it says shoot threes. Right now, that's the goal, to out 3-point the other team. I just read you that stat, small stat. It's probably skewed a little bit. 17-2 the last 19 games. There are some games that were tied, like 7 3-pointers each, 13 3-pointers each, stuff like that. But if you out 3-pointers somebody, you're 17-2. I don't think it's that severe in the NBA, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't 65%, maybe 70%. If you make more threes than the other team, you win. So how do you get more threes? How do we create more threes? How do we do that? That's the issue. So I'm at the point where, again, I still like the game. I still like watching the game. It does have a oneness feel. I feel like I'm watching the same game a lot. High pick and roll, 3. High pick and roll, 3. High pick and roll, 3. Okay. And then I watch guys kick 2-on-1s all the time. It's like they don't know how to run a 2-on-1 anymore because they don't. Because they're used to flaring out to the top. How many times you see a 2-on-1 turn into a 1-pass 3-point shot? Like, let's just jack up a 3. That's what we do. 2-on-1, what's that? How do we run that? What's the spacing on that? Should I be behind the guy at the ball? Should I be ahead of the guy at the ball? Where am I supposed to? What are we doing? And then all of a sudden, some guy throws a ball off somebody's fucking head, and then somebody kicks it, and you're just like, oh my God, 2-on-1. How'd you do that? But I see it all the time now. So where is the responsibility for the commissioners of these sports, specifically in basketball right now, Silver, in adjusting the rules to make it more entertaining, to give the game more of a diverse look, to where it's not the same. It's not teams doing the same stuff over and over and over again, because it's really his responsibility. It's a league. It's not the team's responsibility. Again, if I'm running a team, I'm trying to win, period. I don't give a damn about ratings. I don't give a damn about entertainment. I want to win the basketball game. So where are we with this? What are the answers? I want to get into that in future shows at some point, like talk about, because I want to talk about this in baseball too. I've talked about baseball and basketball being a lot alike. That I don't find baseball quite as entertaining as I used to. Hit and run, stolen bases come back, but the only reason they have because they made the bases pizza fucking boxes. That's the only reason. Like they had to change something. Is there more guy? Is there a little more action? Yeah, because they had to change something. They had to say you can't shift, which I was totally against, by the way. I think you have 8 defenders, 9 defenders. I mean, you're going to count the catcher, but somebody has to be back there catching the ball. Well, I guess you don't, but you probably should have somebody. Do what you want with them. The 7 other defenders, do what you want with them. Stack them up on each other's head. They have you could be like the red panda. You're just out there and they're sitting over there and they're doing the juggling the thing. And I don't care. If you feel like that's best for your team, do it. But they had to come up with a new rule because the players wouldn't just hit it to the left side. They wouldn't just get a single. They're like, oh man, this is lame. I got to be Rod Carew. But yeah, it worked out okay for him. They could just slap it over there. Just hit it to the left side. Hit it the opposite way. Get yourself on base. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, why? You're good. You're good with a walk. Anyway, I'm starting to get down baseball. I don't want to get there. I'm going to get there at some point. But again, baseball, they don't care. They care about efficiency. Analytics helps them find the most efficient way to win. And they don't care about ratings. They don't care about entertainment, right? If you like home runs and walks and strikeouts, then you're good with baseball right now. Just like if you like threes and layups, you're good with basketball. So we'll get into that some other point. But I'm still good with the sport. Again, favorite era, 80s. I still like today's game. There's some things I'd like to see changed. We'll get into that at some other point. I think the game has a sameness to it. I think greatness translates. I think it's unfair to compare players in different eras because the eras are so vastly, vastly different. But ultimately, I think you have to change because I don't know where the game's going. 53 is a game? 63 is a game? Don't know. So there you go. A lot of information today. Probably too much, huh? I felt like, damn. I actually did some research on this and was like, I felt like a full day work. No, I actually liked it because I like talking hoops. And I like, everybody knows that listens, know that I love talking sports. So they ever find that Dwight Howard stat, like how many free throws he shot? How many did he shoot, Max? 39. Okay, I was off. I thought 46 sounded like a lot, but guess what? 39 is still a lot. He shot 39 free throws in that game. 39. So let's see. 45. No. He had 39 points. How many free throws did he shoot? Okay, there it is. Free throw attempt. Okay, got it. He did it twice. Wow. He did it with the Lakers too? I don't remember that one. Like the next year. Oh, okay. I mean, 39 free throw attempts in a game by a team is absurd. One player? Wow. I mean, that is just 21 of 39. Holy smokes. God, that was like a good month for me. 39 free throws. I might not even get 39 free throws. I probably would. 15 games. I think when I was with the Warriors 1 year, I averaged like 4 or 5 free throws a game. Maybe not that many. Maybe 4. I don't know. But God, 39 free throw attempts. That's absurd. All right, let's go ahead and do some questions. I know some people threw Max and Daniel some questions or texted them or whatever the hell you guys do. But yeah, we want to do this at the end of shows or maybe once a week. And maybe at the end of every show, I'll just say, okay, let's do some questions. Now, go ahead. Serious first? You want serious? Or I don't care. Serious, funny. You go ahead. Just tell me what you got.
Okay. Let's see the first one here. We're going to do Jimmy Butler question.
Okay.
The acquisition of Jimmy Butler, does Tom think the Warriors will do in the offseason? Player trade, get another very good player to make one more
run? Look, I don't know. And these type of questions, I got to be honest. Appreciate you listening. Drive me a little nuts. Like, let's worry about this year before we get to the offseason. Like, people start jumping. Like, hey, what do you think we should do next year? Let's finish this year first. Let's try to get through this year. I think they have a shot at the 6th seed this year. And do I think they have a shot at a championship? Hey, if you're in the tournament, you got a shot. Is it realistic? I still think it's OKC. I still think OKC is a squad. Lakers are playing great, but hey, since Jimmy Butler showed up, they've been playing some really good ball. Jimmy Butler's what this team needed, even more so than I thought. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a smart, high IQ basketball player. He's different from everybody else. He's not a 3-point guy. He's a mid-range, get to the bucket guy, draw fouls guy, stuff they didn't have. And I do know this. Joe Lacob, Mike Dunleavy, those guys will always try to make the team better. Joe isn't about like, hey, let's save the money here. They're always going to try to give, especially when they have Steph. As long as Steph's here, they're going to give it a shot to win a championship. It's just not that easy, right? You can't keep going on forever and say, hey, we got a great player. We should be in the hunt for a championship. Well, not everybody that has a great player is going to be in the hunt for a championship. But yeah, I do think they will try to get another player. I don't know what that looks like. Will it be a big name? Could be. I don't put anything past them. If there's a big name out there that it wants to be traded or is a free agent, trust me, the Warriors will be in on it. The Warriors are always in on those type of players. KD this offseason, he didn't want to come here, so they pivot to Jimmy Butler. They will always be in on those type of players. I can guarantee you that. But yes, I would expect him to try and keep this Steph Curry window open as much as possible for as long as possible.
All right, next one here. Tom, what was the funniest interview you ever did with Ralph?
Oh, man, probably Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran was hilarious. So we had Johnny Cochran on, I don't know how many years after the OJ murder, allegedly. So he went, and Ralph was so hyped. Ralph was so hyped to have him on because Ralph, now this was before I got to KNBR. Ralph was on the OJ trial, like literally every day. I heard every day. That's all I talked about. OJ trial. Had to recap the OJ trial. You know, you got Furman and Marsha Clark and whoever was. He's just everything. Like Ralph was on it. Like I guess he just loved talking about that. So I knew when we had Johnny Cochran on, so I just kind of stayed out of the way on this one. I like maybe asked a couple questions. I'm like, look, you go ahead, do your thing. I know you're fired up to do this. I'll just sit back and watch. And so I asked Johnny some questions. You know, I think he had the new show on True TV or something like that. And then at the very end, I knew it was coming. At the very end, he goes, Johnny, yeah, how did OJ's blood get in the Bronco? And I was like, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. And I kind of wanted to hear that too, to be honest with you. I was like, glad you asked that. And then, of course, Johnny goes, hey, look, we don't want to adjudicate the case all over again. And then Ralph laughs and everybody laughs. And that was it. But that was a good one. Not so much an interview, although there were shows, but Ralph and Sabian were good. I mean, they got like there are certain interviews that Ralph would do. I'd just stay out of the way. I'd be like, okay, out. I'm just going to listen to them because these are absolutely incredible. But I don't even know like the most funny interview that I've ever done. I try to bring a certain amount of laughter to every interview that I do, but I remember the ones that Ralph did more than the ones I do because I was listening. I was like a fan, except I got paid. I just sat there in the chair and I was like, I'm getting paid just to listen to Ralph try to grill Johnny Cochran. Good times. That was good times. Good memories.
Next one, asking about the per diem back in the day for the boys on the road.
God, that is a great question. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was probably something like low 20s a day, maybe. Because I'm thinking maybe for like a 8-day road trip, maybe get a couple $100, 180, something like that. So it's like 25, 24. It wasn't that much. It wasn't like you're going out to a fancy restaurant eating, unless you just wanted to eat one meal. And again, just to give you an idea of how much it's changed today. So when I travel with the Warriors during the playoffs, they'll have a ballroom set up. We'll go down there for breakfast and whatever you want, right? They got the pancakes, they got the bacon, they got the turkey bacon, they got the French toast, they got the fruit smoothies, they got the omelet station, the bagels. everything. Anything you want, you got it. Go down there for breakfast, fix it up, and you're good to go. And then throughout the course of the day, they'll have that room open and they'll have sandwiches in there if you want to come in. And they'll keep the breakfast sandwiches in there for a little bit. And then at the end of the day, like when we're on the road, you got to eat every night, or pretty much every night. And again, you're not going to Jimmy's Burger Emporium to eat. Like you're going to like the top of the line restaurants. These are like the best Mexican food, the best Italian food, the best steakhouse, all that stuff. And you just get what you want. Like I don't overindulge. Like I've never said, "Oh, hey, this on Joe. Let's grab some lobsters and steaks." I'm just like, just I'll have a steak and a salad or something like that, or maybe I won't even have that. I still feel like I don't know, because someone else is paying for it. I'm like, oh, let's go crazy now. But yeah, per diem back then. I mean, look, cost of living is way less back then too. But the one thing we used our food for was actual eating. I mean, if I wanted gambling, which I always did, by the way, it wasn't that hard. Trust me. I used to bring up a whole bunch of new card games to these guys, and I was teaching them as I knew how to play. Foolproof, good stuff. But today they're getting like probably a couple $100 a day meal money or whatever they're getting, and they get fed. I mean, it's like stealing. It's like, when's the last time you spent your money for? Never. Like, why would you? Like, get the best food already. Why would I go spend it on food? I'm pocketing my money. Although, trust me, the card playing and gambling in the NBA is still alive and well. It's not like these guys are on the plane doing nothing. So they love playing their cards just like we love our playing cards. Some traditions never die.
Next, staying on food, burger question here. Nation's Burger, Habit Burger, or In-N-Out Burger?
Well,
do other as well.
Well, Habit's out because I don't eat Habit burgers. I have not. They could be great. I just don't eat them. So my two go Nations or In-N-Out. And I got to go Nations. I love In-N-Out. In-N-Out's great. Depends on what you want to. Like a Nations is a bigger burger. It's just it's a heftier, heartier burger than In-N-Out. Downside of In-N-Out, lines are, I mean, extremely long all the time. And if you go to the one in Oakland, you could be jacked. Well, that's why it's closed. So that one's closed. No more In-N-Out over there. So that kind of sucks because I did enjoy that one. Although I didn't get jacked, so I should be happy about that. But we go over there occasionally and get In-N-Out. Nation's on the other side of town, which even though it's Alameda, it's not that far away. It still takes you feels like half a day to get across town here in Alameda. But I love it. I love Nation's burgers. Big thick slice of onions on there. Get the fresh onions. The burger's incredible. Fries are good there. You get the pie, of course. Of course, at Nations you get pie. But if I had to rank them, I got to put Nations just ahead of In-N-Out. And I do love In-N-Out. Like, I'm not going to be mad. If you go, where do you want to go? I'd probably say pick one. I'm not going to be mad. And then Habit, I haven't had Habit enough. Maybe if I had more, but you have a burger. And again, we have Scolari's here in Alameda, and Scolari's tops all of them. It's not a burger shop, but Scolari's is amazing. They have amazing burgers. So I don't want to try something new, which I could if I wanted to with Habit. But you're gonna have a burger. You're cramming 800 calories in your pie hole. You don't want to waste it. So I just go with what I know. It's like when my family says, "Hey, you want to get like Domino's or Little Caesars?" I'm like, "No, I want pizza. I don't want that. I don't want to waste my calories on bad pizza. Like give me good pizza, then I'll waste my calories on. It's not wasting it. I like this is good. I love this pizza. I don't want to waste it on bad. Like I just won't do it. That's why I don't drink crappy beer. If I'm going to drink beer and it has a certain amount of caloric intake, I don't want to waste it on beer. It's like, it's okay. No, give me some good beer. That's why I drink good beer. That's why I am a beer snob, and I'll always be a beer snob. That's why I drink Sante Darius. That's why I go to field work. That's why I go to these places. All right. That's why I pay $5 a can for a beer, which my dad would have a heart attack if he were alive. I'm surprised he doesn't wake up just to have a heart attack and then die again. Like, are you shitting me? $5 for a can of beer. We went to a Giants game one time as a playoff game against the Marlins, and I was buying the beer. I go, Dad, let's go get a beer. He goes, okay, go up there and get a beer. This is back when they weren't that expensive, like $6-7, right, for a 16-ounce beer. And he goes, he's from Alabama, so he still kind of kept some of the twang. Are you shitting me, boy? I was like, no, Dad. It's like, that's the price of beer. Shit. I don't even want it. Dad, I'm paying for it. You're not paying for it. Well, shit. I don't even want you to pay for it. But I am. I'm going to get a beer. Can I buy you a beer? I'd like to buy you a beer. Can I buy you a beer? It's my money. I got it. Don't worry. So it was back when I was playing. I was like, I had money. I was like, cool. Nah, I don't know. Fucking ripoff that is. But it's not your money. It's my money. You're not getting ripped off. I'm getting ripped off. Yeah, no, I feel bad for you. You are getting ripped off. Like, why are we turning in this into? Just let me buy you a damn beer. So I bought him a beer. He liked beer. He didn't love beer like I do. He would drink it, but I don't even know if he enjoyed it. I think every time he took a sip, he was like, shit, ain't worth $7. Can you imagine him now? Go to fucking AT&T, have like a $25 Pliny. Oh God. He would again, he would die if he hadn't already passed. And I love you, Dad. You were the best. I love you so much. But man, that dude I would give $100 to for his birthday. And I'd give him $100 the next year on his birthday. And, he would wrap, you know what he would wrap around the 100 I just gave him for his birthday? The other 100 I gave him last year. I'm like, Dad, fucking spend it, okay? Okay, I'll get you more if you want. Like, if you want to go do stuff, like, it's to spend. Well, for a rainy day. I'm like, what? What rainy day? First off, $100 isn't good enough for a rainy day. Was it drizzling? Like, just spend the money, please. Go play Pie Gow. Go play craps. He liked to play craps over at this local joint. I was like, just spend it, please. And that's not like that's all I would give him. I'd just give him kind of a symbolic 100. And then, we'd go out gambling. And I'd pay for his, here's a couple hundred, here's that, and here's that. But I swear, he'd take the 100 out of his wallet and Ben's like squinting, as the old joke would go. He's like, damn. So the sunlight looks like he did not want to spend money, man. That was him. So yeah, he was appalled by a $7 beer.
This question is: has anyone ever seen Ray Ratto without a sweater?
Yeah, I've seen him in a collared shirt before. Doesn't happen often. But yeah, I've seen Ray just wearing a collared shirt. He'll be on Friday. We're gonna do the backyard again if it's not too cold. If it is, we'll just do it in here. I'm not gonna sit out there and freeze. I'll tell you that. It's a little chilly. I admit it's a little chilly this week. Let's see what we got for Friday. Weather-wise, Friday's supposed to be 60. Okay, we're good. We're good. Sunny, solid. We have any wind? Oh, we're good. Just got to stay away from the gardeners again. So last time the gardeners came, I go, oh, hey guys, we're just wrapping up, and there just make sure you get the backyard, because they came in and they didn't mow. So now my grass is like yay high. It's like I'm losing the bunny out there. Speaking of the bunny, don't let me fucking forget I got the bunny out there. I still got to go get the bunny after the show's over. And the bunny loves staying out at night. Bunny's like, oh, when you used to be able to go on it, like your parents told you go on a sleepover, and then at the last minute they go, oh, you can't. You're just like, that's the bunny. I think the bunny's thinking, I get to stay out here. Oh, this is sweet. Sleep over in the backyard. Yeah. That big bald fucker's coming. He's going to grab me. Take the bunny, put her up in her cage, but she's probably done something out there she's not supposed to do.
Okay, another one here. What is your favorite IPA?
Oh, I don't have a favorite IPA. I don't. That's like, I mean, that's the one thing I was gonna try to come up with some kind of fun joke. Like, that's like asking me my favorite pizza, and then I was like, oh, but I can name my favorite pizza. That's like asking me my favorite player in the 80s, but I can name my favorite player in the 80s. That's like asking me my favorite burger. I just did name my favorite burger. I was trying to come up with something that I couldn't name my favorite. Like, that's like asking my favorite kid. I can't name my favorite kid. Actually, I can't. I don't have a favorite IPA. I drink IPAs, I drink pale ales, I drink lagers. Those are the three. I'm drinking a Sante Adaris. I go to Fieldwork. I love Barry over at Fieldwork. I love Bear Bottle. I love Cellar Maker. Ghost Town's coming to Alameda. I want to go check them out. I might go check them out like this week sometime because they're like 3 miles away. So I can't wait to head over to Ghost Town and check them out. So those are some of my favorites. If you went out my fridge right now, those are the ones you'd see. You see Sante Adair, you'd see Phil Work, you'd see Cellar Maker, you'd see Russian River, you'd see Bear Bottle, you'd see Sante. Those are but I don't have a favorite one, like because they all have different hops that I like. Whether it be like the New Zealand ones, the Nelson, the Ruaka, or Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic, all those. I love those. So it just depends. Like, but I don't have one that I like. Like, I'll never go. Like, one of my favorite beers of all time is a pale ale, Tiny Dankster. I drank it last week. I love Tiny Dankster. It's one of my favorite beers of all time over at Cellar Maker. But I don't have a favorite. Like, if you looked at my fridge right now, there's probably, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. There's like 12 different types of beer. Not types, kinds. Like, I have IPAs, more pale ales, and then some lagers. And then I also have some stouts as well. I have Vanilla Joe from Sante Adaris as well. So I just, I don't have a favorite.
Okay, we'll finish up. We'll do 2 more questions.
Okay. 2 more. Two.
What is it? If Tom could have played any other sport other than basketball, what sport could he play?
Football. I actually transferred from UC Irvine to play football at Cerritos College. I was going to be a tight end, and I didn't even get to suit up because during practice, before we put pads on, I dislocated my hip, which was like the most painful thing. If someone would have killed me then, I would have been thankful. That's how painful it was. I was coming across the middle, got my cleat stuck in the ground. The other tight end who was running a crossing route clipped my shoulder, so my body spun and my cleat got stuck in the ground, and then just popped my hip out. And it was the worst pain I've ever felt, not even close in my life. So I wanted to play football. I think I probably could have played football at the D1 level for sure. NFL, who knows? It would have depended a lot on, like, could you stay healthy? How much do you like the contact? All that stuff. There's a lot of times you go play a sport and you're like, damn, these dudes are banging out here. That might be a little too much for me. But I did like physicality. I loved it in basketball. So probably I love baseball too, though. But I wasn't. I couldn't hit. Like, I could, but maybe it had to do with, like, I didn't have contacts in. That hurt. I couldn't make the ball bigger. Like, the ball was this big, but it was actually only this big. I was like, I knew I hit that ball. I saw my bat go right through the ball. Now you got blurry vision. You need contacts. It wasn't until I got contacts and I already stopped playing baseball at that point. But yeah, probably football. I think I could have played. I know I could have played D1 in football for sure. NFL, again, that's a stretch. That I don't want to sit here and say, yeah, I could have. But I think I would have had a chance. I had good hands, not great speed, but it was okay. 4.8, something like that. But I could have got faster if I'd have worked at it. But again, once I dislocated the hip, I was like, back to hoops. I got enough of that. I don't need any more of that because I'm not like, I love entertaining. I love being funny, all that. Like I said, if someone would have killed me, I would have been thankful at that point because it was the most pain. People were walking by me, looking at my hip, going, ugh, because it was sticking out my ass. And it wasn't like sticking out, like it didn't break the skin, but you could see it form around the hip. Like, so it was in my ass right here. And you could, like, it would stick out. Like, that's where the hip was. And I was like, oh. And the great thing about it, this was the absolute best. I went to the hospital and I got to sit around or lay on my side for 3 hours while the sports and the school argued over which insurance company were going to pay for it. How cool is that? All the while they're telling my mom the longer it stays out, the harder it will be to regain full function. Yeah, I was loving that. And I asked the doctor because I knew I was going to get a shot, right? I knew I was going to get a shot. And I go, how are they going to put this thing back in? You might just have to bite the bullet. I'm like, fuck you. Bite the bullet. I go, this is a hip. I go, it's not a pinky or a shoulder. It's a hip. It's the goddamn biggest joint in my body. You bite the bullet. You even give me some drugs. So they gave me a lower block. And I'm going to demonstrate this to you. I'm not trying to show you my crotch, but I'm laying on my back, right? They give me this lower block. And within about 2 minutes, my lower half just goes numb. And I'm just laying there, like looking up. And I'm just like woozy at this point, but I'm not asleep yet. I'm still conscious, but I can't feel anything in my lower body. My leg, left leg is where I dislocated my hip, is up like this over my head. And there's a doctor on this chair standing over, taking my leg, going like this. And I'm like, holy shit. He's like just jerking it back into the socket. And I was like, I got to close my eyes. I can't watch this. Because it was my body, but it wasn't my body. Like I couldn't feel anything he was doing, but I was like watching him. I was like, that's my leg. Puke. I go, that's just gross. So I yeah, that was brutal. But lest you think the brutality was done at that point, I went to the hospital room. And because I had a lower block and I couldn't feel anything in my lower half, they put the catheter in. That was a special treat. That was special, right? You wake up and you just got this tube running down your crank. And you're just like, oh, what are we doing? So the first chance I got, I said, can you just get this thing out? Talk about an uncomfortable feeling. Taking that thing out. Ooh. Oh, it's out. Oh, man, that felt good. Later on that evening, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. Uh-oh. I can't go. Oh, no. A nurse? I can't go. You can try? Yeah. All right. We're going to put the catheter back in. You think going out was bad? Oh. Going in was no problem the first time because I wasn't conscious. Going in the second time, that was a big problem. That was a big problem. Because you know what? That tube looked like the fucking Alaska pipeline. It's like, oh, wait. You're going to put that in there? How does that even work? Are you serious? Are you serious? There's no way no. Is there a bell here I can ring? There's no way you're going to do that. But she did it. And it was everything I'd hoped it would be. Awful. Just absolutely awful. So I made sure I could go to the bathroom the next time. There was no, let me roll the dice on this one. No, it was, nope. Can you go? Yep, I'm good. You want to take it out? Nope, not really. Let me get another 12 hours. See what happens here. But it is where I watched the 85 NCAA Final Four with my mom. Villanova beating Georgetown. Awesome. I mean, incredible game, right? One of the most famous college basketball games of all time. And I sat there with my mom, and my mom was, I mean, she loved me, still does. But she was not very happy with me because I gave up my scholarship to Irvine to go back and play football. And she's like, you giving up a scholarship? I go, Mom, it's going to be okay. I got you. I got this. Don't worry about it. And then I was in the hospital. I was like, hope I got this. Hope I got this. So I was walking like 6 weeks later, though. I mean, limping around. I probably shouldn't have been. I was supposed to use a crutch, but I did. And then I played basketball, and then I went to Arizona. Then I went to the NBA for 7 years. So as I told my mom, I got this.
All right, last question.
Okay, last question.
People want to know, Where is the AC/DC shirt?
You know what? The AC/DC shirt people are asking about that I used to wear when I was working with Copes on KBR, it was just in tatters, right? It was absolutely in tatters. It was like a type of shirt you would find if you walk through an Oklahoma town after a tornado just ripped through it. You'd be like, "Oh, look at this damn shirt, man! It's brutal." Like that's what that was bad. And I looked for it. I don't know if I threw it away or I'm gonna look harder because I will. I'll wear it for you. I got it. It's a bad shirt. I mean, it's a brutal shirt, but I will wear it. I have other AC/DC shirts, but it's not the same, right? I know what you're talking about. It has no collar. It has holes in it everywhere. I think there's some moths that probably got after it after a while. So I will look for that shirt. If I find the AC/DC shirt, I will wear it next week. I sure as hell ain't wearing it outside. Okay. Because these nipples will become ice cutters. Like there's just no way I'm wearing that thing outside because I'll be freezing my ass off out there. So, but I'll wear it. I'll wear it for you. I will definitely try it out. I'll try it. I'll get it on and we'll be good to go. So, all right. That'll do it. We've, what time is it?
6.
Good Lord. We went 2 hours. Holy mackerel. I had 2 hours, just like I do a little research and I get going, and there you go. So this week, hopefully, we're still working around some guests. Like I do want to. There's some people that I want to have on that we'll get on eventually, but we're gonna have Ray Ratto on Friday. So Ratto will be on Friday. Tomorrow will be on at 1, and I think that's the time we're gonna try. We're gonna try to go at 1, but I will say this: Mondays may be a little difficult because I do want to play golf. I don't want to get into this whole thing like, oh, this is what got to be on at 1, got to be on at 1. I did that for 28 years. Like if I wanted to go golf on Mondays, it was tougher. But so it could be later. We could do 4-1-4. I'd like to do Friday a little later too, as it gets lighter outside, as it gets warmer. Kind of a happy hour type deal. We get out there around maybe 4 and hang out there. But again, we're gonna do 3 shows a week, one way or the other. And this was a little longer than I anticipated, but I get going talking about stuff that I enjoy. And we'll try to answer questions at the end of each show. So if you guys have any questions at all, okay, I don't really even care what it's about. You could ask me anything, like what's your favorite beer? What's your favorite pizza? Who's your favorite serial killer? Like, I mean, anything you want to ask. I mean, I'll have an answer for you. Like I study all this stuff, so I watch a lot of TV. What's your favorite battle? World War II. Probably have to do a little digging on that one, but I do love World War II documentaries. Historical documentaries are the best. I love those things. So we'll just keep this thing rolling, man. Have a good time, have some beers, talk some sports, do all that kind of stuff. And the guest will do the same thing. So everybody have a great evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you want to like, subscribe, whatever. Again, I was telling Max and Daniel, I was like, should I say that? I don't really want to. They're like, don't worry about it. We got it on the screen. Because I don't want to be that guy, right? That fucking yo-yo. It's like, oh, smash, 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 smash. Like, it's like, if you do that too much, I'm like, now I don't want to do it. Even if I like your show, I don't want to do it. Because you're annoying me. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to do. You're telling me to do it? Well, fuck you then. I don't want to do it anymore. It's like when a parent tells you to do something, you're like, well, I don't want to do it. Now that you told me to do it, I was going to do it. I was going to read on my own, but now that you suggested reading, I don't want to read anymore because you told me to do it. So look, if you like it, or you want to subscribe, do that. But I do enjoy having you guys here, and it's fun talking sports, and it's fun doing this. We'll continue doing it 3 times a week, and we'll let you know on Twitter and the platforms like when the show is going to be. If the show is going to be later or it's going to be moved to a different day, we'll alert you and let you know. So you're not like wondering where the hell we are. I mean, look, one of these times I'm going to probably be in a ditch somewhere. So you need to be like, well, the show's over. Okay. It's done. But if I'm alive, we will let you know when the show is and what day it's going to be. So thank you very much to Max, Daniel. You guys are the best, man. I'm so happy these guys are doing this with me. Makes a lot of fun. And that's what I wanted to have, a lot of fun. So everybody enjoy the evening. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. and we'll get into some more stuff then. And then Friday, we might do something Thursday too. We might record something and then be able to play it for you on Thursday. That'd be pretty cool if we could figure that out. I think we are. I won't tell you who it's going to be because I don't want to do it and I don't want to say it until it's 100%. But you'll like him. He's from KBR Days, one of my favorite people of all time. And then Ray Rada will join us over at the house, over at the Casa on Friday. All right, everybody, take it easy. That is it.